Good morning everyone and welcome to video 4. In the last video I talked about forming direct questions with do, does, did in the past tense. They are closed questions with yes or no answers. But today I'll look at other ways to form a question. Here is the conversation again between David, Sally and John from the marketing team. Really listen to the questions. David, Sally and John gathered in the conference room for a quick team update meeting about the new advertising campaign project. Okay everyone, let's get started, David said, opening the meeting. Does anyone have any updates on the progress? Sally raised her hand. Well, I have a question, she said. Could you clarify the target audience for this campaign? Sure, David replied. The target audience is young adults aged 18 to 25. Can anyone think of any ways we can reach this audience effectively? Said Sally, I do have an idea, but are there any particular interests or trends we should focus on to appeal to this age group? John chimed in with another question. Which platforms are we planning to use? David responded, we're considering social media platforms like Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. And for interests and trends, you should have received that information in the brief. Let me check that for you and get back to you. Does anyone have any suggestions for additional platforms we should explore? Sally raised her hand again. I have an idea, she said. What about incorporating influencer marketing into our strategy? David considered her suggestion. That's a good idea. Could you elaborate on how we could integrate influencer marketing into this campaign? Sally nodded. Yes, I've been researching some popular influencers in our target demographic. I still need to think more about the integration, but would you like me to share some examples of influencers? Sure, David said, but let's schedule another meeting to discuss the influencer list in more detail. Can we all agree on a time that works for everyone? As the meeting wrapped up, David thanked everyone for their contributions. Does anyone have any final questions or comments before we adjourn? John raised his hand. Yes, I have one last question. He said, what's our timeline for completing the campaign? David smiled. That's an excellent question, John. Could everyone review their tasks and provide an estimate of how long they'll take? Then I'll confirm the timeline. Is that okay? Okay, in the last video, we reviewed using do, does or did at the beginning, so we won't look at them again here. Today, we will look at other ways to form a question from the conversation that we just heard. The first group of questions use a modal verb at the beginning. Could you clarify the target audience? Could you elaborate on how we could integrate influencer marketing? Could everyone review their tasks? Can anyone think of any ways we can reach the audience? Can we all agree on a time that works for everyone? And finally, would you like is another modal verb. Here are some questions, so starting with could, can and would. Could is a polite version of can, and both can and could ask for either someone's ability to do something or ask for permission. Could you clarify? Could you elaborate? Could everyone review? Can anyone think? Can we all agree? Would you like? We use would at the beginning of a question to express polite requests, offers or invitations. And it's a way of asking for something in a polite and indirect manner. For example, would you like me to share some examples? It's a polite offer. Would you mind opening a window? Polite request. Would you be interested in joining us for dinner? A polite invitation. Another way to make a question, we can simply invert the subject and the verb. Swap the subject and verb. For example, there are becomes are there. Are there any particular interests or trends we should focus on? That is becomes is that. Is that okay? And inverting the subject and verb or the auxiliary verb is a great way to ask the other person for their opinion or information. Now, here are some examples where I'm using a simple statement, turn it into a question. There are many reports to correct. Are there many reports to correct? Invert. She is happy. Is she happy? He has been there before. Has he been there before? They were paying too much. Were they paying too much? I can help. Can I help? Finally, think about making an open question where the answer is not yes or no. They have to give more information. Using what we call question words. What, when, why, who, which, and how. For example, what time is the meeting? When does he go on vacation? Why did they write it like that? Who will be the new manager? Which colour is best? How are you today? Which platforms are we planning to use? From the text. What's our timeline for completing the campaign? Okay. And one last but useful way to form a question is to use question tags at the end. Words such as isn't it? Yes, correct, okay. These basically ask for confirmation from the other person. It's a question such as, it's great that you finished, isn't it? It's great that you finished, yes? It's great that you finished, correct? It's great that you finished, okay? It's asking for confirmation. So I'm just going to finish now with some questions for you to think about. Do you understand these ways to form a question? Have you learned anything new? What have you learned? Would you write what you think in the comments, please? Could you click subscribe, please? Now listen, you all have the potential to be great at English. Everyone can do it. It just takes confidence. Push yourself out of your comfort zone. Ask questions in meetings. Always remember that it doesn't matter if you make a mistake, if the other person understands you. That's all we have language for, communication. Just try. Don't stay quiet. Ask that question that you want to ask. Remember to click the link in the comments to download the transcription as a PDF. Look at the words, translate any new ones and practice saying those questions until they feel natural. Remember, English is your passport to the world. See you in the next video.